So, what do we know about the stunt doubles who brought Deadpool and Wolverine to life? Warning, spoilers follow. Deadpool is about as non-traditional as superheroes come. Not only are his antics fairly R-rated, but the character also likes to dance, and often uses moves that are designed for how cool they look rather than, say, efficiency.
Maximum effort.
Although Reynolds tries to stay in the suit as much as possible, his age means that it isn't always possible for him to physically portray Wade Wilson in his more animated moments. Fortunately, the fact that Wade Wilson appears in his costume most of the time means that it's pretty easy to hide the fact that a stunt double is performing under the mask. Alex Kyshkovych has been Reynolds' stunt performer throughout his tenure as the Merc with a mouth. Not only has he been the actor's double for all 3 Deadpool installments, but he also previously worked with Reynolds in the Adam Project. Speaking to Tatler, Reynolds described Kyshkovych as a really gifted guy with a 14-pack. For Deadpool and Wolverine, Kyshkovych worked as a fight coordinator and doubled for Reynolds in fight sequences. As a stunt double, Kyshkovych has worked extensively in Marvel projects, mostly those involving the X-Men. He also doubled for Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant and Kurt Russell in both Christmas Chronicle films. While most actors in a film will only need a single stunt double, occasionally multiple stunt performers are required. That's certainly the case with Deadpool in Deadpool and Wolverine, a character who features in almost every scene and takes part in the lion's share of the action. Part of the reason Deadpool needs multiple stunt performers in the film is his distinctive fighting style, which often showcases his acrobatic prowess. Some of the stunt double work in Deadpool and Wolverine fell to Rick English, a veteran of the stunt game who has credits in over 160 projects. Reynolds was likely already familiar with English due to his work on The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. The 2021 movie saw him perform a number of stunts and act as a motorcycle stunt double during an action-packed chase sequence. English is particularly well known for his work on comic book movie productions. He has worked as a stunt double on several DC movies, including The Batman and The Dark Knight, as well as MCU projects such as Black Widow and Secret Invasion. Yet another stunt performer who stood in for Ryan Reynolds on Deadpool and Wolverine, Jonny James is no stranger to doubling for the Canadian A-lister. He has done the dirty work for Reynolds in several films, including The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard and Red Notice. James might not have been in the industry quite as long as some of the other stunt performers in Deadpool and Wolverine, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have the necessary skills to bring Wade Wilson to life. His first role came in Terminator Genisys, in which he worked as a motion capture performer. He later landed parts as a stunt performer in some of Hollywood's biggest franchises. For example, if you're a Star Wars fan, then you've likely seen James in action without knowing it. He did stunt work for Solo: A Star Wars Story and Andor. In terms of superhero films, one of his earliest credits was Justice League. He went on to land gigs on Spider-Man: Far From Home and more recently Secret Invasion.
It's Wolverine.
You're damn straight it is.
Disney brought him back. They're gonna make him do this till he's 90.
Although Wolverine is among the most famous Marvel superheroes, Deadpool and Wolverine marks the first time the actor has appeared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The filmmakers knew they had to deliver on the action, with Wolverine going up against Deadpool and Sabretooth in fights that fans have wanted to see on screen for a long time. Wolverine has something of a unique fighting style, an expert martial artist who's as tough as nails. The mutant is also a savage fighter who is capable of bouts of pure rage. Of course, you also have to consider his retractable adamantium claws, which leads to lots of up-close and personal scraps. And while Hugh Jackman has given pretty much everything he has to this role over the years, even he can't do everything. Instead, stunt double Daniel Stevens took up some of the slack. An industry veteran, Stevens got his start as a stunt double on the Australian soap opera Home and Away. He has plenty of experience doubling for Jackman as Wolverine, taking on the job in a number of installments in the X-Men franchise. He's also no stranger to the MCU, having previously worked on Iron Man and Avengers Endgame. The last time we saw Wesley Snipes portray Blade was in 2004's Blade Trinity, which reportedly went through a very weird and troubled production. For example, Snipes is said to have engaged in an on-set feud with director David S. Goyer that led to him only communicating through sticky notes.
He would only answer to the name Blade. You couldn't call him...
He would only answer to
The Blade, yeah.
Someone who will have seen all this go down firsthand is Ryan Reynolds, who co-starred in the movie as Hannibal King. The production issues associated with Snipes led many to believe that we'd never see him as the Daywalker again, which is why it was a surprise to see him reprise his most famous role in Deadpool and Wolverine. In the film, Blade helps the titular protagonist fight Cassandra Nova and her forces in the Void. Speaking to Entertainment Weekly, Snipes revealed that he had thought it would be impossible to return as the character, but was eventually convinced by Ryan Reynolds. He explained, "I didn't think that Marvel was into it. Disney was into it. I thought it didn't make sense to me, but you get a call from Ryan Reynolds out of the blue after 20 years, you go, okay, I gotta take this call. Let's see what this is about." Being in his 60s, Snipes was unable to perform the same kind of stunts that he did more than 2 decades ago. Instead, Cali Nelle doubled as Blade in the film. Previously, Nelle had worked on superhero projects such as Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and The Batman. Long before Deadpool and Wolverine hit theaters, Channing Tatum was set to portray Gambit in his own comic book movie.
I was a fan of Gambit since I was a kid, so there's a lot of things that I've been looking forward to getting to do for a very, very long time.
Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox threw a wrench into the works for a movie already stuck in development hell, and it looked as if Tatum's chance of playing his favorite superhero was dead and gone. Fortunately, the third installment in the Deadpool series provided the perfect opportunity for Gambit to appear, and Tatum jumped at the chance to finally play the Marvel character. At first glance, Gambit might appear little more than a glorified magician, but the mutant is both a skilled hand-to-hand combatant and is capable of manipulating kinetic energy. Gambit plays a pivotal role in helping Deadpool and Wolverine escape the Void, fighting against Cassandra Nova with the help of the Resistance members known as the Others. Stunt double Joel Adrian substitutes for Tatum during this set piece. This isn't the first time that the stunt performer has appeared in a superhero project. He has previously worked on Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and The Batman, as well as blockbuster hits from The Kingsman to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Like other multiverse-adjacent MCU films, Deadpool and Wolverine features a lot of variants of the key characters. One of the most memorable in this movie is Ladypool, a female version of the Merc with a mouth who has long blonde hair flowing out of the top of her mask. Ryan Reynolds' wife and fellow actor Blake Lively provides the voice of Ladypool, but the character was physically embodied by Christiaan Bettridge. Lady Deadpool's stunt double has been involved in a wide variety of projects since making her stunt performer debut on the sci-fi series Hunters. Bettridge is best known as Gal Gadot's stunt double, having appeared in Wonder Woman, Justice League, Wonder Woman 1984, and Red Notice. A former dancer and athlete, Bettridge is due to launch her own on-demand fitness training program. Deadpool and Wolverine is jam-packed with hidden cameos and references. This is most obvious during the dramatic fight with the Deadpool Corps, in which dozens of Deadpool variants attempt to stop the original Deadpool and Wolverine from reaching Cassandra Nova. The fact that the vast majority of these characters are masked means that the filmmakers were able to hide many actors in plain sight, as was the case with Cowboypool. A Western-inspired version of the Merc with a mouth, Cowboypool comes equipped with a cowboy hat, revolvers, spurs, and an Old West accent. Matthew McConaughey provided the voice for the character, marking the Oscar winner's debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The person inside the suit, however, is stunt double Tom Cotton, which makes sense given McConaughey isn't exactly known for his action roles. Cotton has credits for stunt work in more than 40 television and film projects. His most recent role before Deadpool and Wolverine was in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, while he also worked on both Avatar: The Way of Water and The Batman. Cotton has also collaborated with Ryan Reynolds in the past, working on The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Chris Evans' appearance in Deadpool and Wolverine makes for quite the shock, with the movie initially teasing that he has once again taken up the mantle of Captain America. Heck, even Deadpool himself believes this is the case. Soon enough, however, it turns out that Evans is reprising a very different Marvel role from earlier in his career, Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch from the original Fantastic Four movies. Johnny Storm helps Deadpool and Wolverine when they first land in the Void, and eventually meets a grisly end before he can get too involved in the action. But he does take part in one brief fight. Stunt performer James Cox doubles for Evans in Deadpool and Wolverine. This wasn't his first outing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In fact, Cox is something of a regular in recent movies in the franchise, having appeared in movies from the Marvels to Eternals to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Jennifer Garner first portrayed the assassin Elektra in 2003's Daredevil, and later reprised her role for Elektra in 2005. As the years went by, it seemed as though Garner's solo spin-off would be her last outing as the character. That wasn't the case though, as Elektra shows up in Deadpool and Wolverine as one of the others. She later joins the two protagonists in their assault against Nova's forces, meaning she's involved in plenty of fighting action. Having last played Elektra almost 2 decades ago, expecting Garner to perform all of her own stunts in Deadpool and Wolverine would have been a tad unrealistic. That's where Shauna Duggins came in. Duggins is an experienced stunt performer who has appeared in more than 150 films and television shows. Duggins previously made history for her work on the Netflix comedy drama series Glow, becoming the first woman to win a Creative Arts Emmy Award in the comedy category for stunt coordination. She told The Hollywood Reporter that she was honored to be the first woman to scoop the award in this category, adding, "I think this show in general breaks the mold, and I'm so honored to be a part of it." One of the highlights of 2017's Logan is the character Laura, also known by her codename X-23. Cloned from Wolverine's DNA, she shares his bone claws and many of his other abilities, such as advanced healing. Laura is once again portrayed by Dafne Keen in Deadpool and Wolverine. In the third Deadpool film, Laura is part of the others alongside Elektra, Gambit, and Blade. Managing to convince Wolverine to take part in the attack on Cassandra Nova's compound, she plays a vital role in defeating the villain's forces and allowing Deadpool and Wolverine to escape the void. For her action sequences in the movie, Laura is portrayed by Nadia Hansell. The British stunt performer is an expert in a number of martial arts and has appeared in dozens of movies and television shows, including MCU movies such as Spider-Man Far From Home, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.